Thank you, Dr. Grant. And thank you, graduates, especially those of you who have been here for 9 or 10 years when I started. It's fantastic to see you walking across the stage today, and it's hard to believe that you won't actually be here in August when we come back. I am honored to introduce to everyone today, today's speaker, Dr. Dorry Segev. I first met Dorry almost 9 years ago at a mutual friend's house after a day out on the water, boating and water skiing. Shortly after, I learned that he and his wife, Summer, not only enjoyed swing dancing, but danced competitively around the world and opened Charm City Swing together here in Baltimore, where, by the way, I did try to take some swing dancing lessons and didn't do very well.
It's okay.
So I never went back. But as if dancing and water skiing weren't enough to keep him busy outside of work, it turns out that Dorry is also an extremely skilled musician who uses his talents to do things like host house jams for groups of friends where they play different instruments and sing show tunes, perform Chopin on the piano at swing dance competitions, write and perform songs related to his research, and DJ at parties during medical conferences around the world. In recent years, he's also taken up acro yoga with his wife and dabbles in photography while traveling the world, mostly taking pictures by drone. It actually wasn't until several months after I met Dorry that I found out he was a surgeon. And not just any surgeon, but a world-renowned transplant surgeon who's also been integral in passing legislation related to transplantation. In 2005, he and his wife, Summer Gentry, who is a professor of mathematics at the Naval Academy, partnered to devise an algorithm that helped to significantly increase the number of donors who can be matched with patients awaiting kidney transplants. That work led to the passing of the Charlie W. Norwood Living Organ Donation Act of 2007. In 2013, he helped to pass the HIV Organ Policy Equity HOPE Act, which changed policy to allow HIV-positive patients in need of an organ transplant to get organs from other HIV patients. In 2016, Dr. Segev and the Johns Hopkins Hospital performed the first HIV-positive transplant in the country. Over the years, through social media, I've been able to follow Dorry around the world, reading about his personal hobbies and his professional accomplishments. And I'm continually fascinated with the fact that such a talented and busy surgeon finds time for the numerous hobbies he has and never ceases to seek out new experiences, hobbies, and places to visit. It's clear that music, dance, art, travel, and other creative endeavors are just as important to him as medicine, science, and research. In a recent interview, Dorry was quoted saying the following: "Every day, I try to take on something I'm not good at. It makes no sense to me to live life only practicing things I already understand how to do." So I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Dorry Segev, Johns Hopkins University, Professor of Surgery, Professor of Epidemiology, Associate Vice Chair, Department of Surgery, Director of the Epidemiology Research Group in Organ Transplantation, water skier, dancer, singer, musician, traveler, photographer, and entertainer.
Good morning. First, I'd like to congratulate the graduating class. You made it.
Woo.
Good job. So, I'm not a professional graduation speaker, so to prepare for what I was hoping to share with you today, I just asked a bunch of students that I've had in the past to tell me some of the things that I've said to them that were useful or important in their decision making. And I compiled some of them, and then what I did is I picked a photograph that may or may not relate fully to the things that they told me, but you'll get the photographs behind me and you'll get the words of wisdom behind me. And I'll try to share with you just some personal connections to these words of wisdom, and hopefully leave you with something that you'll remember. And then at the end, we'll try to put it all together in the form of a song. So, life is like a river. Life twists and it turns, and if you're able to stay flexible, if you're able to go with the flow, then life will show you all sorts of beautiful things. And so, the words I leave you with are that the path will wind. And as you probably heard from my own personal story, I started as a I started studying music, and then I started studying computer science, and then I went to medicine, and then I learned math, and I learned photography. And for me, the path has been about as windy as it possibly could be. And while that is not the shortest distance between 2 points, it is definitely the most fun distance. I know you're going to go home and people are going to say, well, what did the speaker tell you? And you say, speaker told us we will fail. But I think it's really important to remember that through life, there will be times that you will fail. So when I went to medical school having majored in music and computer science, and so you can say I wasn't very prepared for medical school. And on my first exam, out of 100, I got a 7. So I too have failed, and I know the sting of failure. You're going to apply for jobs, and you may not get them. You're going to try projects, and those projects may not work. Your hearts may be broken at times, but it's important to remember that it's not whether or not you fail, but it's how you respond to failure, whether you're resilient, whether you're perseverance. That's really what you'll be judged by, and that's what will determine whether you go through life happy. On the other hand, it's okay to be sad, and I wish that years ago somebody had told me this, because still, I go through life, and when I'm sad, I feel like that's something that's wrong. It's okay to experience the entire range of human emotions, and there's beauty in sadness, and we need to embrace this. Turn your sadness into art. Let your sadness inspire you to work harder. Or you know what? Just let it remind you that you're human. And we're all human, and it's okay to be human. You heard that I like to do things that I'm not good at on a regular basis. And the thing I'm doing today that's hard for me is giving this talk. I don't speak to high school graduations very often, but actually the thing that kind of sets me more at ease is I don't remember who spoke at my high school, and I don't remember a thing they said, so I guess if I mess up today, in a few years you won't remember me either.
Do your best. That's the least thing you could do.
But do try hard things, because the thing with hard things is that they also remind you you're human. Humility is important, and doing things that you're not good at remind you to be humble. And remind you sort of the beauty of being humble. Don't sit in your comfort zone, because what happens is when you try something you're not good at, you'll either become good at it, and then it's another fun thing that you can enjoy, or you'll at least kind of embrace your own failure, and that's kind of fun too. Nobody succeeds alone. So I couldn't be where I am without my mentors and my friends and my family, so seek them out. Stay close to your friends, be good to your friends, and they'll be good to you, and be nice. Just be nice to everyone around. Dive deep. So what I mean by this is whatever you're doing on that day, during that month, during that year, do it as if that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I spent 3 years in a lab dealing with transgenic mice. I don't do that now. I never want to do that again. But let me tell you, those 3 years I spent, I did that as if I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing that. And what that did was it gave me a deeper understanding of what was going on and a deeper appreciation of it than I would have gotten if I would have just said, well, this is just a temporary thing. There's a thing called the imposter syndrome. This is a thing. This is real. Everybody has it. What it means is there will be times where you feel like you don't belong in the position that you've been given, in the job, in the school that you're going to, in the class that you've taken, in the assignment that you've been given. Let me just tell you, you belong. If you're there, if somebody hired you, if somebody assigned you the project, You belong and you're supposed to be there. And it's really helpful to know that even full professors get the imposter syndrome and that it's a normal thing. And if you feel it, it doesn't mean that you're inadequate. It just means that you're human. Worrying accomplishes nothing. And what do I mean by this? You only have so much energy. So instead of spending your energy worrying about the thing that you're about to do, just do it and spend your energy on that thing. And the example I'll give you is, in medical school, I almost failed anatomy. And the reason was that anatomy was overwhelming. We had 12 weeks to learn the names of every single body part. And there are a lot of them, let me tell you. And I don't remember any of them anymore. Well, I remember some. But what happened was, for the first 2 tests, I was so worried about not being able to learn anything or everything that I just was paralyzed and I could not study. And when I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to learn whatever I can and it'll be done and I'll get whatever grade I get, I aced the exam because I was able to relax and focus my energy on the task at hand rather than worrying about the task at hand. And similar to that is to not allow distractions. So don't let the little unimportant things distract you. What are the little unimportant things in our lives? Emails, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, we're on our devices all the time, and that's fine. But don't let those things pull you away from the thing that you're focusing on. I really want to impress on you that whatever you seek in your life, there are no showstoppers. Okay, there may be bumps in the road. There may be things that you feel will stop the show, but the show will go on one way or another. And I know when I have students who do like a PhD thesis, and they always say, there's no way I'm ever going to finish, there's no way I'm ever going to finish. And the advice I give them is just get across the finish line. You can do it, it doesn't matter, there are no showstoppers. Related to that is that better is the enemy of good. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you will produce good work. If you are so worried and you need it to be the most perfect it can possibly be, you may paralyze yourself. This is where writer's block comes in. This is where you stare at a piece of paper and you can't think of what to write because everything that comes to your head seems good but not good enough. What I'm telling you is, it's good enough, just move forward and maybe you can come back and fix it, but better is sometimes the enemy of good. Stay balanced. Find time for the arts, even if you're not in an artistic field. Here's the thing. If you're creative on a regular basis, then your creative side of your brain will stay awake. And it will go and it will help you with the non-creative things that you're doing as well. Like in medicine, when I started medical school, having finished a degree in music, they said the toughest thing for you to do in medicine will be to stay yourself. Because in medicine, you're taught that if you are not studying and doing medicine 110% of the time, you're not giving enough of yourself. And what I learned was that actually, if you did that 100% of the time, you're not developing enough in your own true self. And if you stay creative and you continue to balance the arts and the sciences, then your science will be more creative. This is a quote actually not from me, but from Stephen Sondheim. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a musical theater composer. And he says, wishes come true, not free. And I'm just going to leave that one because he's more brilliant than I am. The last thing I'm going to tell you is to have fun. Okay, you need to be a whole person. And a whole person has fun. If you just dig your head down and all you do is work all the time and you never have fun, you will burn out. And I see so many of my friends and colleagues burning out. So please remember, you will work hard and that's fine. Find some time for fun. So we talked about this winding path. I want you to embrace this winding path that you see through life. Don't be afraid to follow it. So think of it as a river, and a river just flows very smoothly. We can learn a lot from a river. A river makes the bends and the twists and the turns, and it doesn't worry about them. What we do when we know we need to change, we realize that it's hard to change, and sometimes we're reluctant to change. When we know we need to evolve, we realize it's hard to evolve, and we're reluctant to evolve. Let yourself flow through, make the difficult changes, make the difficult evolution, and you will see that what comes around the bend is even more beautiful than what you were dealing with at the time. And to summarize all of this, what I want to do is sing for you a song that I always come to when I'm feeling in a weird place, when I'm feeling like I'm not quite sure what's going on, I'm not quite sure what's next. And I look to this river that is flowing, and I want to flow with it, and the two of us are kind of like kindred spirits flowing together. You're wondering what song it is, aren't you? Moon